Hopefully have some other folks joining us. Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the powerlifting pre-competition webinar. So if you were expecting something different, I wanted to let you know right off the gate before we started. So this slide here, just want to let everybody know that we do have a card donation program, similar in many ways to the one that has the earworm jingle on TV at what 1877. So
Cars for Kids.
I was going to avoid trying to say their names. So, but anyhow, very similar to that. So if you or you know anyone, the donations, as is noted on the second bullet, can either go to help support the overall Special Olympics Maryland organization, or they can specifically go to assist your local county and such. So there's information on our main website, or you can contact Sue Jacobs, as is noted there. And again, this slide will be with the deck when it comes out. And I'll turn it over to Mani for introductions and such.
Thank you, Mike. So again, welcome all to the Special Olympics Maryland pre-competition powerlifting webinar. Thanks again so much for taking time out on a busy Wednesday. And we truly appreciate at SMD for everything you do for athletes. I'm Mani Madala. I'm the sports director and the lead for powerlifting and long distance running for the Fall Sports Fest. With us today, we have Derek Willis, the venue director and the competition director for powerlifting. Thank you, Derek, for joining. And then we do not have Steve Bennett, who's the senior director of competition, but we do have Mike Sinuski, who just spoke, the VP of sports at SMD. Diving right into the slide deck, we will start off with the event information, then do entries, schedule, talk a little bit about venue, and then dive into rules, updates, and reminders, cover a little bit of the miscellaneous stuff, and then go right into a question and answer at the end. Mike, if you want to take it from here.
Absolutely. So thank you. So some general information. For lunch and food services, you all submitted your lunch orders for your delegation. It'll operate very similar to how it did in previous years, but for any of you who were not there with us in previous years, the crew that's doing lunches will pack all of the lunches specifically for each team or each delegation by sport. So there'll be powerlifting lunches for Carroll County, as well as I think they have flag football. Flag football lunches separate for Carroll County, so on down the line. Then sometime between 11 and 12:30, lunches will be delivered to your venue. They'll all come in, they'll be boxed or somehow arranged there. Don't necessarily be looking for them right at 11 o'clock. They've got to get them out to 4 different locations. There's a lot of packing to do. So sometime in that window, 11 to 12:30, the person at your venue, the MC, will let you know when they're there and available to pick up. You will go and pick up all of the lunches for your team as a group. Do not send individuals, please. They will be turned away. So pick them all up for your team as a group and take them. You may, depending upon how large your powerlifting delegation is, you may want to bring someone else because they come with waters as well. So there may be, although your folks, I'm sure, are very very fit since they're doing powerlifting. Just you may want to have an extra person help you with that. And it doesn't have to be you personally. If you have someone designated who you want to have them pick up, that's fine. As far as meals, sticking with that for the moment, families and spectators are on their own for meals. We may have concessions down at the flag football fields in a tent that they can go down for. There's also a couple options. They'd have to get into their car to get to them, but there's a McDonald's and I think some other things up Route 15 in the Emmitsburg area as well. But as families and spectators, if they are not registered members of their delegation, and if they were not included in your order, your lunch order, there are again, but they have to be members of your delegation. they would not be able to get lunches from our distribution. Monty, what do we got next?
Okay, give me 1 second, please.
Sorry.
For some reason, the slide's not. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so this is an overall map of the campus. The main stuff that you'll be dealing with is the parking, which you can see there down in the lower left corner, and in the Knott Arena, which is where opening ceremonies as well as the powerlifting competition will be. So you'll typically, you'll park in the parking lot, and you can see Route 15 is in the upper left corner. You can come in and come around, park. I recommend coming in through the entrance that's to the right of the building. That'll bring you in on the bottom floor. And you can come right in, right down the hallway will be delegation check-in, and down a hallway off of that main hallway is where you'll have weigh-ins as well. So and I'm not sure if you've got a map later, Monty, that has more detail on that, but that way you're in. If you come in from the left side that's closer to Route 15, you can still get around, but you'll be coming in on the second floor with that. One other thing with that, one thing that we did a site visit there a month or so ago. Wow, the second floor is now all open area. And it may be, before there used to be a wall of windows and glass and such. Now that's all open. There's tables there, so on down the line. So it makes it a much nicer place potentially to be sitting and watching. So I would recommend you take a look at that when you're there. It may just be, like I say, an added bonus. It was very, very different feeling and impressive. Those of you who know, I've been with Special Olympics for quite some time. Actually, was with the one of the ones who actually started us utilizing and having a partnership with the Mount. And it was, wow, big difference. So make use of that. The rest of the stuff, you can see where the flag football fields are, distance running, so on down the line. Right outside the door from the arena is where tennis will be going on. And if you have downtime, I don't know that you will, given your schedule typically, but if we have downtime, certainly go around and see some of the other competitions that are going on. But obviously, primary focus is the powerlifting competition. Next up. So delegation registration. So again, that's going to be on that first floor, right in the hallway as you're coming in. I think it's typically right past the staircase as you're coming in that doorway. There'll be a packet for each head coach in each sport. So if you have multiple, I see Tina's here from Montgomery County. I think they've got somebody in every sport. They've got powerlifting, they've got tennis, they've got flag football, and they've got distance running. There's going to be 4 different packets for them, one for each of the head coaches. So the head coach picks it up. There really is no head of delegation, as there sometimes is at multi-sport events that we host. So be sure to say not just that I'm from Montgomery County or I'm from Carroll County, but what sport you have as well. You'll get your packet. That'll have whatever information that's there that you need. It'll have name tags or credentials for all of your folks that are participating. We do want you to please, at that point, report any scratches for your delegation right at check-in. If you don't know, I've been a coach, I've been there, you may not know until everybody shows up or doesn't show up. But if you don't know, that's okay, but please come back and let the delegation registration know when you know people are not going to be there. Okay. And the overall schedule is, so there's, again, team registration will open up at 7:30 in that hallway. If you have someone from your team who has been designated to be part of the parade, each county is designating, I believe it is 2 individuals, either 2 athletes or an athlete and a partner, to carry in their banner in the parade. It's a representative parade is what we call it. If you have any of your athletes, or you wouldn't have partners, but if you have any of your athletes that are doing that, they need to report to the field house, which is right across the hallway from the arena by 8:30. If they're not there by 8:30, they may get cut, and you may not have anybody marching in for your county. It is not, unfortunately, it is not an opportunity to change names and to change people. The way it operates, since we have athlete MCs and so on, and they will have rehearsed all the names and such in preparation for that. Making a change at that, at the last minute is really not functional. Opening ceremony then follows. With that also, so if you, it is quite possible that your area has already submitted folks for the parade and or made nominations for the athlete oath, and I think it's the pledge to the flag, are the two other athlete opportunities within opening ceremony. But if you are interested in having one of the members of your team reach out to your area director, and he or she will let you know if there's still an opportunity. We're getting down to, I think tomorrow or Friday, maybe the deadline on that. But if you are interested in that, reach to your area director and they can submit it. But we'll do that. Opening ceremony, it says 45 minutes. It's typically quicker than that. Not that we're trying to rush, but it probably doesn't last that long. And then coaches meetings, that'll be fairly brief. Right after the coaches meeting, 10 o'clock is noted there, the competition will start. I think the last year, maybe the last 2 years, not trying to jinx it, knock on wood, things went really well. We were able to keep the competition to that time frame, and we'll look forward to that. As noted there, the awards for powerlifting will be in the rear of the Knott Arena. Again, for those who have been there for the last couple of years, that's where we've had them. We moved them there, I think it was during COVID, and it seemed to work really, really well. One note also, when you're coming in for opening ceremonies, delegations, actual members of the delegation, can be seated on the floor. In fact, we'd prefer that they be seated on the floor, on the chairs on the floor. Spectators, family members, and such can be in the stands, which as you're going into the arena are on the upper, on the right-hand side. There's plenty of seating there. It's also a good place for them to sit when they come to watch the awards presentations, which will be going on throughout the day. One last note with that, I don't know whether you have this covered later, Monty, but following opening ceremonies, we will be asking powerlifting delegations to stay on the floor, but if possible, we don't want you to cramp yourselves or get too tight, but if you can move towards the front of the seating, there's a lot of chairs that have to be taken down, and we may get some of from opening ceremonies, and we may get some of that done then. Again, we're not trying to smush everybody together into a tight space, but there's a lot more space there than is needed for that. So we'll leave ample chairs out for seating and for you guys to stretch out a bit for powerlifting, but we do want to get as many rows from the back as we can out and put away, since I quite honestly don't want to be doing that till 7 o'clock at night. So it's all about me, I know. So next up, hand it off to you. Okay.
Yep. Thank you again, Mike, for covering the last point. I didn't have it, and yeah, we really appreciate if you could please move over to the front so that it'd be easier for us in the cleanup. Diving right into the powerlifting specific information. This year, we have about 50 athletes doing bench and deadlift. So there'll be double combination for all the athletes that are registered. This is about 2 athletes more than last year, and we'll take the plus number and we're happy about it. Just an overall idea from the overall event schedule. We'll have the delegation check-in at 7:30 with the weigh-ins happening from 8 to 9. We ask the athletes to arrive no later than 8:15 because the latest we can take is 8:45 and they close at 9. And if somebody misses it, unfortunately, that will be a scratch as we've done in the past. And opening ceremony is expected to get done at 9:45. That's also when we tear down the stage from opening ceremony and set it up for powerlifting. So there will be movement on the stage. At the same time, to the left, if you face the stage, to the left is where you will have the coaches meeting right by the stage. And then we expect competition to start at 10:15. But as I said, this might slightly vary based on how quickly we get things moved from the opening ceremony to the powerlifting on the stage. And again, touch wood, we expect to be done before. The next important thing, submission of cards. All the coaches will receive the cards from the weigh-in, and we ask them to submit directly to the management personnel with their first attempt on the cards and also verify the weights. So just to get a quick idea, whatever weight is on the card will be used for divisioning and will be used for judging later. So we really ask for all the coaches to mention that on the card before they give it to us. And it's also the responsibility of the coach to submit the cards because this is to assist with eliminating any of the delays we had in the past, especially while evaluations. And if you haven't already confirmed that any restrictions for an athlete, for example, if it were a bench press, and if you have athletes that cannot completely extend one or both of their arms, we ask you to let us know before the lift, so that will help us during judging also. And then again, the opening ceremony will be done by 9:45, and we ask the coaches to immediately, after the opening ceremony is done, to get to the coaches meeting, which will be to the left to the stage when you face the stage. And we also ask / request any assistant coaches that would be available attend the meeting also, just for easy pass of information. And then the awards, I will show the actual map in a second, but it will happen in the arena, in the same hall as where the powerlifting is taking place. And also a quick note that we'll do awards on a rolling basis, which means as soon as the first flight is done with the bench press, they head straight to the awards area. They'll get their medal, and then the athletes will return to the program and wait for the call for deadlift. It'll be same thing. So as we have it rotating, we want the athletes to first take the awards before they go to the area delegation or elsewhere in the arena. And once deadlift divisions are complete, that's when the athletes can return to the awards area for both the double combination event and deadlift awards as well. And as I said, this is just to give an idea visually of what Mike also talked about earlier. This is the exit doors, also where you enter from across the hall from the delegation check-in. And then to your right, when you see are the arena seating where the parents and spectators can sit. And these are the chairs that we lay out for all the delegation members to view and the athletes as well. And right when you enter the hallway to your right is the awards area with the powerlifting warm-up and staging area right here to the left. So we have it completely marked out with pipe and drape, and we'll have banners also for you to easily locate it. And if you could see my cursor right here is where we most probably have our coaches meeting at 9:45 in the morning. And this right here is our powerlifting venue. And then going to the uniforms, we ask all the athletes to be in lifting costume, which consists of one piece as of any other powerlifting competitions. And they should not have any patches or padding. We also mandate an undershirt during all times of competition for both the events, with long socks being compulsory that have to be worn during a deadlift. Sports shoes are completely fine, but any work boots or non-appropriate sports shoes will be asked to taken off. Belts, powerlifting belts are completely okay as long as they do not have any extended non-metal objects. Buckle and stud attachments are completely fine, but other than that, we would not ask anything else on the belt. Wraps are also fine, but with a maximum width of 8 centimeters only, and a maximum length of 1 meter can be worn. Knee wraps not exceeding 2 meters are okay, and when it's width, it's about 8 centimeters. Chalk will be provided. We do provide chalk for both the competition area and the warm-up area as well, where the athletes can use it. And if by any chance we run out of it, please let me or any of the management personnel know, and we will restock it as soon as possible. And then coming to the I really can't see what's the title of the slide. I'm sorry. Bench press. I apologize there. For bench press, our metric is everything in kilograms. So the standard bar is 20 kilograms, but we also have a light bar, which is 15 kilos. But we did allow this in the past and we'll do it again. Area programs can bring a 15-pound bar on their own if they think their athletes needs it. We, from an SOMD standpoint, cannot do it, but if the area thinks so and they can get a 15-pound bar and we'll count it. And for the bench press, just regular rules. The head and trunk must be in contact with the surface throughout the lift, and the foot should be on the floor or as plates of whatever the athletes prefer. They can either be flat or arched, but it cannot be changed mid-lift. And please also know the officials before the lift if the athlete can't extend their arms. We did have some situations in the past where the communication did not happen, and that did result in points being taken off or disqualification. So we really ask the coaches to let us know before giving the scorecard if there are any physical restrictions for the athlete. Also, after removing the bar from the racks, we ask the lifter shall wait with the elbows and wait for the referee's signal saying start. I'll also talk more about it in the next slide. And for some reason, my slide's not moving. Give me 1 second. There you go. So failure to observe the referee signal will result in a DQ, and we'll have two commands during the lift. One is start, and that's when they take the bar, lift it up with the full movement, and there should be no other contact of the athlete's feet with the bench or any other support. We ask it to be completely on the ground or arched or on the plates. And then no heavy bouncing, no exaggeration or overextension of the arms during the lift, and general powerlifting rules. Any downward movement of the bar while pressing it up is considered to be DQ. And some of the common disqualification causes for bench press: failure to press the bar to full arms extension, unless the athlete has some physical restrictions and we're known about it, it's okay. And then contacting the bar of the lifter by the spotters between the ref signals is also not allowed. And then any deliberate contact between the bar and the bar rest uprights on the top during the lift to just make the lift easier is also not allowed. And one of the last reasons is any failure to follow the requirements contained in any of the previous rules. And then for the deadlift, just regular stuff here as well. The bar must be positioned horizontally with the athlete's feet. And it's also, we do allow 2 grips, both the overhand and the mixed grip, whatever the athlete's most comfortable with, but the lifter shall face the front of the platform at all times. And any downward movement while the concentric phase of the lift is not allowed, and shoulders do not have to thrust back past an erect position. However, if they do happen and any other criteria is okay, we do accept that lift. And if you have any questions on any of the lifts or the rules, please grab one of the officials or any of the management personnel and we'll do our best to get the answers. And then continuation on the deadlift. The ref signal should consist of the downward movement of the hand. I'm sure, or I believe most of the counties also did this at their required qualifier. It's just a show of hands for downward and upward command down. And the signal will not be given until the bar is held motionless. So any constant movement of the athlete at the top stage of the lift is not considered as long as they can wait. And then once it's done, the referee does signal lift's good, you can go down, and then that's when the athlete can get down with the bar. And any attempts to raise the bar or deliberate attempts to lift the bar shall be counted as an attempt. And then some of the common reasons, I'll not go over each point, but any downward movement will result in DQ, or if the athlete cannot stand erect, or if they're lowering the bar before the ref signal, we do count that as a DQ. And then allowing the bar to return to the platform without maintaining control with both the hands is also something we ask the athletes to not do. And then the double combination are basically just the bench press and deadlift. the athletes required to compete in both the bench press and deadlift to qualify for the final score. It's also calculated by adding together both the scores that they have lifted in the bench press and deadlift. One of the points I would like to highlight here is, let's say for an athlete, they got the deadlift right. They lifted, let's say 200 kilo. They can. I'm sorry. Let's say they did 100 kilos, right? For bench press, they failed all their 3 attempts. So we will count a participation medal for the bench press, and we'll give a medal as they got in deadlift, but we did not give a participation medal for their combination. So if the athlete gets 3 unsuccessful attempts in either deadlift or bench press, they do not get a medal in the combination event. They do get a participation medal in the particular event where they were not successful for the attempt, but we did not award any medal for the combination event. And then I would like to hand it over to Mike to talk about divisioning.
Sure. Most of you are familiar with this, but we had some questions come up in some recent events about divisioning. So we did want to touch on this and recognize that the divisioning in powerlifting is a little bit different than we do. So for individual events, generally speaking, we strive to get divisions where there's no more than a 15% difference between the qualifying scores for the individuals. If we were talking track or swimming or snowshoeing or skiing, that would be their time, and there would be no more than 15% difference there. For powerlifting, of course, the entry score, if you will, is their weight with the weigh-in. So we use that as a guideline, but not a rule. The other thing that we strive to do, and we will exceed that 15%, to try to get at least 3 people, 3 athletes in a given division, if possible. We could go up to as many as 8 athletes in a division. We do not make any kind of a determination so that everybody gets a gold, silver, or bronze. That is not a factor in any way, shape, or form in any of the divisioning. It's really looking at getting the best divisions, leaning towards more competitors. Up to 8 in a division is better, which is sort of a standard philosophy within Special Olympics. So, but we do want to get at least 3 if we can. We will sometimes go to just 2 athletes in a division and sometimes to 1. So as a divisioning there, we base it on not just the score, but also the athlete age and gender factor in as well. So that's one of the reasons why Mani mentioned earlier for powerlifting, we need to get that weigh-in done because we can't do the divisions even until the weigh-in is done for things. So again, we sometimes talk a little bit loose. Mani use the term medal a couple different times. Think of it more as an award. So some athletes may receive a gold, silver, or bronze medal. Some may get a 4th place, a 5th place, whatever. I think many of you, if you've been here with us for a bit, noticed that we several years ago significantly upgraded the quality of the ribbons that we offer and we present for the place ribbons and even for the participation for those who disqualify in their given event. We did that with the 50th. There was such a positive response, we've made the decision that we are going forward for all of our state level championships to use those same types of awards. We have a new version now. We've used up all the 50th, but you'll see them there. So I'm not sure what's on the next. I know there's a second slide on divisioning, but if you can advance that. So, okay, so here it just mentions that it's the body weight that is there. I think I touched pretty much on that. Other than what's one of the things that's key is your role as a coach. You have a tremendous amount of influence in terms of how an athlete or a unified partner or any competitor. Can you go back? Sorry. I'm still talking on on that. Yeah. Thank you. You have a tremendous amount of influence on how they interpret the situation and such. Again, I coach track, and one of the things that we really instill in our athletes, and I'm sure you are doing with your athletes as well in powerlifting, is focus on their personal best, or they're improving how they did, or their form for the bench press or whatever with that. That the award, the medal or the ribbon or whatever, that's a nice extra thing. What we're really what's really important is how well did you do for you, and that can make that truly can make a world of difference in terms of how the athlete and hopefully the family member as well interprets the place and the award that they got if they didn't wind up earning a gold, silver, or bronze. You want to go to the next? And I
Yep.
think I was covering that one too.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. So this actually came up a question just prior to this. We had the flag football pre-comp webinar, and it was brought up about things. So there is a coach's code of conduct. Actually, there is a code of conduct for coaches. There's another one for athletes and partners. There's another one for spectators and so on. They are all available on the coach resource page on the main one that's there. If you aren't familiar with it, please do read through it. There's a lot of specifics. The main points are right here. But I mean, there's a couple nuances and stuff. But if you look at take the approach of the first two, you probably will have everything just fine. Respect everybody. You certainly are entitled to disagreeing with an opinion or whatever, but doing that respectfully. There's also if you really disagree with the decision that's made, there's a protest procedure, protest forms and such that the head coach or certified head coach can submit a protest if you wish for that and all. And then really focusing on a positive experience for everybody. The others, act professionally all fits in with that and such. One note within that in terms of acting professionally is there no alcohol, no tobacco or vapes, no drug use, any of that type of stuff is permitted at a Special Olympics event. Didn't think we needed to repeat that every time, but we've had a couple incidents in recent events that where we needed to remind some folks of that. So I think that's it
Yep.
in terms of what you needed me to
Mhm.
cover. Yep.
Yeah, and then thank you, Mike, for doing that. And then just covering a little bit about general information. We will have the results posted in the Not Arena most likely as soon as they're done on the board as well. And they will be posted on the coaches resources page. We have been, or Mike has been really efficient with the score results posting in the last couple of years, and we usually post it on the same day or the day after, but just to give us some leverage, we promise there'll be no later than the October 23rd, the Wednesday after the Saturday. And then the protest procedures is the head coach can file a protest within the 30 minutes of the results being posted if they think there's been any problem or unfairness from their perspective, and only the head coaches can file a protest. We will not accept any protest from assistant coaches' parents, and we ask only the head coaches to do it and submit it to the control center. And appeals will be addressed within 24 hours, but they will have to be submitted at the event at the games control center.
Yeah, one note with that. So your first step does not have to be to file a protest. You can certainly ask a question. Obviously, if the official or Derek or Monty are in the middle of something, we don't want to hold up everything. But that can be your first thing. Just ask a question. That can solve in many cases most issues. But the protest process is there. Never be ashamed or concerned about filing a protest. We want you to use that process if you think it's necessary. You're defending your athletes or the interests of your athletes. At the risk of creating a problem, I would almost say we encourage you to file protests when it is appropriate. But never, don't worry, oh, they're gonna think ill of me or anything like that. No, if you're following a protest and you do it in a professional manner and respectful of all, no, it's interpreted that you're defending your athletes, even if we happen to disagree ultimately. But please, use that tool that's there should you need it.
Thank you for covering that, Mike. Again, there are any athletes, if there's any special needs from your delegation, please let me know as soon as you know it, and we really appreciate it. And we do have medical services roaming around the arena and also on site at the powerlifting. So if any questions arise and if you can't spot a medical personnel, just grab one of the SOMD or games management team, and we'll do our best to get medical attention as soon as possible. And this is our evaluation survey link. We usually push out evaluations a couple of days after the event. We really value all the feedback, and I can promise on this, we do read every single feedback we get because we're always up for improvement. And I believe there's always something that can be better in the later years. So we really do appreciate your feedback. So we ask you to take a couple of minutes after the event, let us know. And it can come from anybody who attended the event, the athlete, the parent, or from a spectator standpoint, or a coach. We are always up for feedback and opinions. And then just a reminder on the general info about our team. We do have, including me, new sports directors that have joined in the last couple of months. So I will be the head for powerlifting and long distance running. And we have Julie Klein doing cycling, which is about 1 week after Falls Fest, and also bowling, which is in November. And then Jake Novick will be leading tennis at Fall Sports Fest and soccer about 2 weekends after Fall Sports Fest. And Melissa Anger will be spearheading flag football. So if you have any questions regarding any of these sports, please do reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. And then again, thank you so very much for being patient with us. We appreciate your time. And before I open the room for questions, I have a question for the group of coaches here. I and the team are currently looking for some officials/judges. So if you or anybody in the delegation know somebody that are eligible for a judge, we're open for discussion as we are looking for 1 or 2 judges for a competition. And I should open the room.
I already told Steve Bennett, but I already got a USAPL judge from Virginia agreed to show up and help volunteer with anything we need.
That's amazing. I did not know about it. Thank you so much, Derek.
That's great. We could still use more, though. We want to build that bench. So that's great. Fantastic, Derek. Thank you. And thank you to all the coaches, not just for being with us tonight and being with us at the Mount in a week and a half, but for everything you've done all season to make this happen.
I don't see any questions in the chat, but any other questions before we end up? All right, then. That will leave us with 22 minutes on your Wednesday evening. But again, thank you so very much. We appreciate everything you've done for athletes throughout the season, and I look forward to meeting you in less than 10 days. But yeah, if there's anything else, please let me know, and we're more than happy to help as a team. Thank you all. You have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.